Have you ever wondered why some people seem to fit neatly into the classic ideas of feminine and masculine, while others mix it up like it's a buffet? Or maybe you've questioned why society holds on to these roles so tightly in the first place. Don't worry, you're not alone. The ideas of femininity and masculinity have shaped everything from how we view ourselves to how we interact with the world. And they've been around for ages. Hello, glad you tapped in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, so you can find us again and see more videos. Femininity and masculinity are big, timeless ideas that have shaped how we see ourselves and each other for ages. Femininity? Think nurturing, empathy, and a knack for building connections. It's like being the person who remembers everyone's birthday and brings cupcakes to the office. Meanwhile, masculinity gets tied to strength, leadership, and independence. Basically, the guy who will carry all the grocery bags in one trip just to prove he can. These traits, though traditional, still pop up in how we act at work, at home, and everywhere in between. It's not about fitting into a mold, but understanding how these qualities play out in real life. The ways these traits are embodied and valued differ across cultures and time periods, but they remain integral to how societies organize roles and expectations. Masculinity is traditionally all about strength, assertiveness, and independence. Basically, being the go-to guy in a pinch. These traits often show up in real life when a man steps up to lead a team at work, mentors someone with a let me show you how it's done vibe, or handles family finances like a boss. And don't forget those moments of physical grit, like military service or tackling a profession that requires serious bravery, such as firefighting or construction. It's the classic roll up your sleeves and get it done energy that's been tied to masculinity for generations. In modern society, masculinity is getting a much needed glow up, adding emotional intelligence, vulnerability, and collaboration to the mix. These days, men are stepping up as hands-on dads, forming tight-knit family bonds, and even doing their fair share of laundry. Who knew? This shift gives us a more well-rounded take on masculinity, where qualities like compassion and empathy shine just as brightly as old-school strength and leadership. It's like the ultimate two-for-one deal. Similarly, femininity often shows up in actions that scream care and connection. It's the friend who brings soup when you're sick, or the one who somehow makes the most chaotic house feel like a cozy retreat. Whether it's fostering strong community ties, organizing family gatherings with military precision, or just being that person who always has a kind word, femininity gets its moment in these everyday gestures. Historically tied to traits like empathy and compassion, these qualities help build relationships and bring people together, making them just as important at work as they are at home. For most of history, men were the bring home the bacon types, literally hunting for food and defending their people, while women handled the behind-the-scenes magic like gathering, child-rearing, and making sure everyone didn't starve. This division wasn't just a random assignment. It made sense. Back in the day, when brute strength meant survival, men tackled the physically demanding jobs because, well, someone had to wrestle that woolly mammoth, while women juggled the equally vital and often overlooked tasks of keeping the home running smoothly and raising the next generation of mammoth hunters. Religious doctrines played a big role in keeping these gender divisions alive and well. A lot of religious texts made it clear men were supposed to lead and women were supposed to support. It's like the ultimate you're the boss playbook for men. For instance, the Catholic Church didn't just suggest men take the lead, it made it official by reserving top roles like priests and bishops exclusively for them. To back it up, early science jumped on the bandwagon with claims about biological differences in brains and abilities, which conveniently proved why this setup was just the way things were meant to be. In many farming communities, women weren't just sticking to the kitchen. They were out there plowing fields, managing livestock, and hustling just as hard as the men. They showed a level of adaptability and flexibility that'd make even the most ambitious multitasker proud. And let's be real. When times got tough, whether it was war, famine, or an economic meltdown, women often stepped up and carried the load, proving that necessity really is the mother of invention, pun intended. In 19th and early 20th century Western societies, gender roles were about as flexible as a cast iron skillet. Men had their marching orders, head to work, make the money, and decide what to do with it. Women? They were holding down the fort, running the house, raising the kids, and somehow managing to keep everyone's socks paired. This wasn't just considered practical, it was practically sacred, like the secret recipe for a morally upright society. However, not every society stuck to these strict roles. Some Native American tribes had two-spirit individuals who embodied both masculine and feminine traits and were respected for their spiritual and social contributions. Meanwhile, over in New Guinea, the Arapesh people were all about teamwork, expecting both men and women to share the load when it came to raising kids and keeping the community running. Basically, these societies didn't see gender roles as rigid. They saw them as opportunities to collaborate and get stuff done. The Industrial Revolution flipped the script on gender roles in a big way. Men moved into factory jobs, which everyone thought was the real work, while women's domestic hustle suddenly became invisible, even though it was still the glue holding everything together. The late 19th century was when women collectively said, "Hold up, why are we stuck in the kitchen while men are out making all the rules?" Cue the feminist movement, where the first wave was all about fighting for the basics, voting and owning property. Women's suffrage movements in the United States and Europe were like a mic drop moment, flipping the script on how society viewed gender roles and proving that women were ready to do way more than bake pies. The second wave of feminism in the mid-20th century came in like a whirlwind, shaking things up and demanding more for women. This wasn't just about equal rights. It was about making space for women to dive into education, climb the career ladder, and take control of their own reproductive choices. At the same time, the idea of masculinity also began to shift. The traditional image of the stoic, unemotional provider came under scrutiny, as men were encouraged to embrace emotional expression and share in caregiving responsibilities. These changes signaled a broader rethinking of what it meant to be a man or a woman in modern society. Cultural variations in gender roles show us how societies put their own spin on femininity and masculinity. Take Scandinavia, for example. They've practically turned gender equality into an art form. Over there, the idea of traditional roles is about as outdated as a flip phone. Men and women share the load equally, whether it's in the boardroom or at home. It's less about who does what and more about just getting things done without a fuss. The attraction between feminine women and masculine men is one of those age-old mysteries that's equal parts science, psychology, and maybe a little je ne sais quoi. Sure, everyone has their own tastes, but let's face it, there's something about the opposites attract dynamic that just works. And if you're wondering why, it turns out there's more than a little research and some cultural storytelling to back it up. Evolutionary perspectives offer another explanation for this attraction. And let's just say it's all about passing down the good genes. Some evolutionary psychologists argue that women might swoon over traits like a strong jaw and prominent cheekbones because they could signal good health and sturdy genetics for future kids. Basically, it's nature's way of saying, this guy's got solid DNA. But of course, this isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. Preferences can shift based on where you live, what your culture values, and even the kind of environment you're in. Cultural influences are like the behind-the-scenes directors of attraction. In many societies, traditional gender roles still call the shots, with feminine women often gravitating toward men who embody those classic masculine ideals. Think strength, protection, and being the go-to for fixing squeaky doors. These cultural norms basically act as cheerleaders for the whole strong man meets nurturing woman dynamic, keeping it alive and well in a lot of places. Research shows that women's preferences for masculine features can be a little like the weather. They shift depending on a mix of factors. Women who are more sexually open might find themselves drawn to men with strong, chiseled features for short-term flings. Think sharp jawlines and cheekbones that could cut glass. On a bigger scale, countries with better health, more open attitudes about relationships, and cushy economies tend to see a higher appreciation for these masculine traits. Apparently, good cheekbones look even better when the economy's thriving. Let's not forget, these trends are more like broad strokes than hard and fast rules. The media has been the ultimate hype machine for gender stereotypes for ages. Back in the day, women were usually cast as the damsels waiting to be rescued or the ones obsessing over their looks, while men were the action heroes saving the day and flexing their biceps. It's like Hollywood had a rule book. Women cry, men conquer. These cookie-cutter portrayals didn't just tell stories. They boxed people into narrow definitions of what femininity and masculinity should look like. The workplace has been ground zero for shaking up gender roles. Women are no longer just leaning in. They're kicking the doors down and claiming their space in fields like science, technology, and politics. It's like the ultimate plot twist in the workforce story, with women proving they can do it all, and then some. At home, family dynamics are getting a modern upgrade. Dual-income households are basically the new normal, and splitting chores is finally becoming a team sport. Dads are stepping up their parenting game, proving that diaper duty and bedtime stories aren't just mom jobs. It's like a family relay race, where everyone's passing the baton, and honestly, it's about time. Understanding femininity and masculinity requires a recognition of their historical roots and cultural contexts. By spotlighting the best qualities like empathy, strength, teamwork, and leadership, society can make life a lot more inclusive and way less complicated. Femininity and masculinity aren't here to fight each other. They're like peanut butter and jelly, two halves of a combo that's been spicing up the human experience for ages. Together, they add some serious flavor to our shared history and future. Understanding masculinity and femininity isn't just a nice to have. It's a must for creating a society where everyone can shine. These traits aren't about putting people in boxes. They're about celebrating the whole spectrum of human experience. Masculinity and femininity aren't rivals duking it out. They're the ultimate dream team, each bringing something unique to the table. By appreciating the strengths of both, we can build a future that's not just balanced, but downright thriving.